All right, good morning. We are really excited to be here today in Mexico. Myself and Alex, you'll talk to Alex afterwards. He will show you our BI360 product. But first, I will talk about business intelligence, what it is, and what it can mean for you to have a modern business intelligence strategy in your company. So the first thing I want to talk about is what business intelligence is. And then we want to talk a little bit about the future of business intelligence. So how many of you have heard the word business intelligence before? So pretty much all of you, yeah. It's becoming a terminology that everyone is using, but it means different things to different people. So we'll talk a little bit about that and what companies around the world are doing these days to make sure that they are part of this revolution happening with business intelligence software. So what is business intelligence? Well, there's many definitions. Some people think business intelligence is just a dashboard, like visualization with charts and so on. Other people, like ourselves, think that it's a little bit more. We think that business intelligence includes very nice financial reports, operational reports, looking down at your sales, inventory, other important data, and also that it includes budgeting and forecasting, forward-looking, looking into the future where you think your company will be from a performance standpoint. And we think business intelligence includes strategy. Strategy, such as what comes from your board meetings every year as you look into the next year. So we think it's all of that. So what is this business intelligence revolution that's going on? Well, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, the terminology, the word business intelligence, started getting very, very popular. And more companies have started buying dashboards, software. They have started putting in data warehouses. They have implemented things like visualization and new reporting tools. So all of these are part of this revolution that is happening. And when you look up here, right now we have the cloud, right? Everyone is talking about the cloud, that you need to get your accounting system in the cloud or your CRM system in the cloud. And many of you probably already have something in the cloud in your company. Actually, how many of you have one of your business systems in the cloud? How many have something in the cloud? Wow, yeah, so that's more than half of you. So one of the challenges with systems in the cloud is that now your data is up there, and then you probably also have data in the building, in-house. So it's harder and harder with business intelligence to see the one picture of what's going on. For that, you need somebody to bring the data together in one place, and we'll talk about that. In terms of all of this data that is becoming available, you will see that if you're not able to provide that data to your employees so they can make decisions, then your competitors will probably do it sooner or later, and you might fall behind. So especially as we get younger and younger people into our companies, they expect to have data available. And that means that you need to think about business intelligence, because that is what it does. Now, many companies think that they have good business intelligence because they have a lot of reporting tools and very often a lot of Excel spreadsheets, right? Excel is maybe the world's most popular business intelligence tool because it's easy. We all understand it. We can all put data to Excel. But the problem is there's too many of these tools. If you go to your cloud systems and your in-house systems, I'm sure you have many reporting tools, right? Many ways to get the data out. and you probably have people spending time every day or week compiling spreadsheets, preparing the data for your managers for decision making. And that takes time and money to put together because it's a manual process. And again, too many tools is very normal that the company has 5 or more reporting tools. And that makes it very hard to do simple BI. So, this business intelligence revolution that's going on, where did it really start? Well, I think in the last few years, as we have been watching it, it really started with people fixing their reporting, getting better financial reporting. So here's an example of a financial report, profit and loss report. That's the first thing you need to fix, because you cannot live without financial statements, right? You need your balance sheet, you need your profit and loss, you need that to run the business. So that's where it started. And those reporting tools, once you have good tools, they can often go down to more detailed data, below your general ledger level, and you're looking at reports for sales, reports for inventory, reports for pipeline, like CRM reports, and on and on and on, right? There's many sub-ledger or detailed systems that has reporting. So that's been the second part of the revolution, that people have that. Also, budgeting and forecasting. That's often the second thing after you get better reporting that people fix, that they improve. I'm going to do a little survey again. This is always very interesting, this survey. How many of you do budgeting? How many have budgeting? Okay, so more than half of you do budgeting. This is a trick question now. How many of you do not use Excel? No Excel in your budget process? Okay, one. That's very typical, that there's one or two that have a tool for their budgeting, and everyone else are in Excel. So this is typically an area that you can do better in the business intelligence tool than just a manual spreadsheet. If you're a very small company, Excel is perfect, no problem. If you have many users, like maybe 10 or more department heads that need to enter budget data, it can be a problem. Linking together spreadsheets, summarizing them, especially if you don't only do one budget per year, but you do forecast, like every quarter, every month you do forecast. If you have manual spreadsheet, it can become a problem, very painful. So in the BI revolution, we see that companies, even government, because government do budgeting too, are first fixing reporting at a financial statement level, then getting also good reporting for operational data, and then automating budgeting and forecasting. But that's not all. That is not complete in terms of business intelligence. Because strategy, right? Your strategy and your goals are ultimately what comes before you do a budget, right? So many companies, the good news is many companies, it's disconnected. Strategy here, budgeting there. And that's not good. You're supposed to have strategy, and to implement strategy, it typically costs money, and that money you should plan for in your budget, right? They need to be connected. And not that many companies today have strategy connected with their budget and then connected with the reporting that happens afterwards. So when you achieve that, you will see that everything is much better aligned and is going to help your management teams follow the strategy, measure the success of following it, and that becomes a key part of being in this BI revolution and succeeding. Okay, this is very simple. Do you have question again? Question. How many sell product? You sell products. Sell products, okay. How many sell services? Okay, so a little bit more services and products in the room. So when you do that, we all have sales reports, revenue reports, so we all know how much revenue we make for our service or our product. But what we often don't know that well is how much profit do we make on it, or gross margin. Okay? Because in your accounting system, in your general ledger, it's very few companies track both revenue and cost for product and service. Usually it's revenue and then more manual to track the cost to see if it's profitable. To do that automatically with good BI, you typically need to do allocations. So you can automatically allocate some of your expenses into product or service to see if it's profitable. So allocation can be very important. Many accounting systems are not good in allocations. So therefore many companies do it in Excel manually. But business intelligence tools are often set up to do allocations for you outside your accounting system to make it easier. So it's important to know. Another interesting area. You might think that you're doing very well, right? Maybe this year is a good growth, your revenue is climbing and going up. But what if your competitors is going faster, right? That means you're not doing that good because you're losing market share. So it's also important for business intelligence not only to look, inside your company, but to look outside at competitors. Sometimes that information is not easily available. Sometimes it is. If you have competitors that are public companies, they might even be in another country, like in the United States, and you can look at Yahoo or other places and you can see every quarter financial statement, or the same in Mexico if they're public here. Other times you can get average information for your industry from organizations, like benchmarking organizations. So in the world of business intelligence, especially looking into the future, in this revolution going on, don't forget that you need to look at the competition too, in terms of their growth and what they're doing. And business intelligence tools can help with that, because your accounting system, you don't want your competitors' data in your accounting system, right? But in a business intelligence database or tool, it's okay to put competitors' data, right? Also very interesting. We talked about profitability for products or customers or even projects. But if you look at your customers, everyone here have customers or suppliers. If you are, let's say, a manufacturer or distributor, it's very interesting to see who are my top customers or suppliers, who are my bottom, right? Especially for when you are buying products, if you again have if you have suppliers, or for your sales team when you sell to your customers, it's very good to know who are your best customers and your worst customers, because often you don't want your worst customers. You can sometimes give that to competition and let them deal with all the problems, right? But if your salespeople don't know who is the best and the worst, they might give them all the same benefits, the same terms, and so on. Like I said, the same if you have suppliers. It's very good to know who you're going to be nice to, treat good because they're doing good business with you, and who maybe you should not be dealing with. And that is not always easy to see in your accounting system, because that data might come from many places. Point of sale systems, surveys that might happen, and so on. So that can be part of what a business intelligence tool can give you. Very exciting, right? With cash, pesos or dólares, or other currencies. When you want to pay for your expenses, which we all have to do, or you have exciting future investments. Maybe you're building a factory or you're making big investments. We all know how important it is to watch cash flow. It is surprising how many companies do not have good cash flow reporting. It's often, again, Excel or not good report, or maybe not even good cash flow at all to watch in the report writer. Maybe you have to guess or manually put it together. So in modern business intelligence tools, it should be automatic cash flow reports, just like you have balance sheet and income statement. You should have that. And also in your budgeting, you should be able to do cash flow forecasting. So you know what is your cash flow likely to look like 3 months from now, 6 months from now, and that will help you. Unfortunately, we know there's going to be another recession at some point, every 5 or 10 years, right? It's going to happen. So when the next recession happens, it's very, very good for your organization to have control over cash flow, because then you want to probably control your spending, right? And that's an important part of business intelligence. To get a little bit strategic, and Nicholas will get very much into talking about strategy afterwards, but from a business intelligence standpoint, when you set your strategy and you have your goals, they need to be measurable. And goals are typically measured with KPIs, right? Key performance indicators. In our organization at Solver, for 2016, we have just finished our budget process. And yes, we have big revenue goals and profit goals for the company, but we also break them down into departments goals and into individual goals. I have a goal, Alex have a goal, everyone have a number, whether it's for sales or how many customer calls a support person will respond to, and so on. It's amazing what happens in a company when you have goals or KPIs for individual and corporate. Most people have it for corporate, but not everyone have it for individuals. When you get it down to individuals, it is amazing the motivation and the excitement that happens. Of course, then you can tie bonus and other good things to reaching those individual goals. And that is not done in an accounting system. Accounting systems don't keep track of individual goals. Business intelligence tools do. Okay? To me, this is one of the most interesting things, because you might have very good reporting, you might have very good dashboard, you might have very good budgeting, but we are very busy, right? We are all very, very busy people. So if you have to log in to a place to look at the report, or you have to wait for somebody to give it to you, already time has gone by. Maybe that's a week after you have the numbers in the system, because then you have time to log in. And if there's a big problem, you want to know today. You don't want to know a week or a month from now. So modern business intelligence should be able to come to you. You don't have to always log in and look at the report, but you can get an email telling you, you are 20% below budget on your revenue. And you know right now, instead of 2 weeks from now, when your boss is telling you what's going on, you want to know right now. So alerts is a very good way where the business intelligence tools send you email and tells you, hey, take a look, it's a problem. Or maybe it's a great news, it doesn't have to be a problem, but you get to know fast, right? This is very future-oriented. Not many companies have what you call prescriptive analysis. Prescriptive is like a doctor. You know, the doctor will prescribe you a drug or a solution to what's the problem with your health. And the same with business intelligence tools. Not many do it now, but it's the most exciting area in business intelligence, is that the tool can look at history and it can learn and get smarter, and it can start saying, okay, your revenue is 10% below your budget, but instead of stopping there and you go, okay, I have to do something with it, the system can tell you, well, the last 5 times you had this problem, this was your solution. And it says, maybe your solution should be the same this time. In other words, it can learn from history, which is great, especially when you have new employees that have no history. They don't know what you have done the last 5 years to fix the problem. Business intelligence can teach them because it will know. So, summarizing up, if all of these questions that I have been asking are, interesting, and you say, okay, this business intelligence revolution, it sounds interesting. What can I do about it? What will it look like? How can I make sure my company is not falling behind, but that I'm at least ahead or in the middle when it comes to being good in business intelligence? So the first thing that you want to think about if you plan to get better business intelligence in your company is which department should own it. Who is in charge of a business intelligence project? If it was 10 years behind, 10 years ago, probably you would say IT. IT is in charge because it was all very, very technical. However, with modern business intelligence tools, it is easier. It does not mean you will not get help from IT, but who should be in charge overall? Well, more and more you will hear people like us say it should be finance and accounting, the finance and accounting department, because they understand the business. IT understand the technology, finance, accounting understand the business. And it's very important, therefore, that finance and accounting can be the people creating the specification of what should come out of the business intelligence tool. Okay? And we think that all of the exciting departments in your company, like sales, marketing, human resources, maybe manufacturing if you were manufacturing and so on, they all gather very important data, but the result of their activities always affect the general ledger. Everything affects the general ledger. We believe that is the ultimate measurement of how successful you are with investments, of course how much money you're spending on different things, obviously to see if you are profitable will be there. So we think that's another reason why finance and accounting should be in charge of a business intelligence initiative, because they thoroughly understand the general ledger and everything impacts the general ledger, right? Now, if you say, okay, so maybe we put finance in charge of the business intelligence project to own it. Next thing we say, okay, but we need big boss or the board, we need them to agree that it's important to have a business intelligence initiative to get the right tools. Then you want what we call an executive sponsor. You want them to say, yes, we believe it's good, you can spend whatever money we need for this, and they will be supporting you if there's problems or if there's people fighting you when you do your initiative. So very important to have executive buy-in. In the past, I've seen many companies fail with business intelligence projects because they want to do everything at the same time. We want to do this, 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 and it's not prioritized. So it's very good to prioritize based on the strongest needs. Where is it most benefit to get good business intelligence? Is it good reporting, financial reporting? Is it good sales analysis? Is it to make a central data warehouse for all of your data sources? find out where you have the most pain, and we fix that problem first. Then you would create a project group, finance, we said, but of course you always need IT because they will fix and set up the technology for you. And then you would want to implement business intelligence one step at a time, one phase. Phase one should be where the best return on investment is, right? Strongest need, that should be phase one. It's a very good way to prioritize. What they call big bang, not a good thing, like try everything at once. Do the one area where you know you're going to get very happy smiles in the company. When they say, this is now a lot better, then you go to phase two, okay? Now, I'm going to talk a little bit technology, and then we're going to have Alex show you our product so you see an example of what business intelligence could look like. But I want to just talk briefly about the data warehouse. Survey. How many of you know what a data warehouse is? How many know what data warehouse is? Okay, so about half of you. So data warehouse is a central single database that collects data from accounting, from sales system, from CRM, any system where you have important data. Like you see here, these could be different systems. This could be put in the data warehouse. Typically a data warehouse would be Microsoft SQL Server, which is the Microsoft database, or Oracle. They are the two big ones. There are other databases too, but they are two of the big systems. And typically a data warehouse will last 10, 15 years. Companies that have a data warehouse, usually very big, very expensive. You need special architect to design a data warehouse, and it typically takes between 1 and 3 years to make a data warehouse. It's crazy, very expensive, very difficult. So more companies, software companies, have now said, okay, let's do the same thing as accounting software companies did with accounting systems. They made the software. If you go back to 1970, very far back, you probably will not find many accounting systems. If you go around Mexico or United States, you would find a lot of paper. You would find maybe Pemex or some big company would have COBOL, COBOL programming, one table for general ledger. You would not find many accounting systems. Somebody said, that's crazy, especially when we got the PC from Bill Gates and it got cheaper to have software. Some smart brain said, let's make an accounting system. Let's not build it at home. Let's make one we can sell to lots of companies. The same thing is happening now with data warehouse. We and some other companies said it's crazy to make a data warehouse at home, just like you would not make an accounting software. So we built interface on top of Microsoft SQL Server so that you can make or put in place a data warehouse much faster and easier, so that you can get all the important data in one place. That is typically the beginning of good BI, so that you don't need 5 report writers and so on. Another thing towards the end here, do you know Gartner Group? How many know Gartner Group? Right? Very famous research company. If you're going to remember one thing from my presentation, remember 2020. That is what, 5 years from now? Gartner Group, very smart people, do lots of research. They say by 2020, every person with a computer or a tiny computer, cell phone, will be a user of BI. Not maybe a power user. that design things, but they'll be at least an end user. And if you don't think about this now, and you say, I worry about BI in 4 years, the danger is that competitors and others in the industry think about it today, or last year, or the year before, and you fall behind, and all of your employees go, I have no data. I cannot make a fast decision because the data is in my accounting, with a bad report writer. I have something in Excel. My budget is maybe in a spreadsheet here. My sales data is over there. My CRM data is over here. And it's very tough to make good decisions. So 2020 is important. Business intelligence needs to be able to give your employees easy access to information, reports, dashboards, and so on. On the web, maybe that is cloud, or maybe it's web from in-house. That does not matter, but web makes it easy for anyone to access. All right? Web and mobile. Web, I mean browser. Web browser, not install software everywhere, but browser. So you can go home and still see your data. Easy. Alex, when he is showing you an example of our product, hopefully he will show you an example of easy, because we could have been standing here in Mexico City 15 years ago and talking about business intelligence. Probably then I would work for Hyperion or Cognos, right? Because they've been around since early 1990s. The problem, although they are very powerful tools, is not easy. Where's easy? Here. Not easy. You need experts. Also expensive, but you need experts. You need specialty people to hire. Modern business intelligence should be able to train your finance people. Somebody that is used to spreadsheets, somebody who's only used to computers, fine, they don't need to be technical expert. Very important. If business intelligence is good but hard to use, big problem. Especially if every employee is going to be a user, right? It needs to be easy to use, and it needs to be easy to access. Because in 2020, if the world is going like we're seeing now, there will be more and more data, right? More and more data. And in order for you to use that data and your people, business intelligence hopefully can help you. It has to be easy and automated, okay? All right, now it's going to be easy, just some big pictures, and then we give it to Alex. I wanted to, for those of you that have not worked a lot with business intelligence, just give you a couple of examples what it can do. So very typical today is dashboards. Many vendors. I think in the United States there are almost 100 dashboard companies. So it's a lot. Microsoft now have dashboards as of this summer. It's called Power BI. You know Power BI? You heard? It's coming as of July this summer from Microsoft. Very low cost, good. ClickView. ClickView is pretty familiar name in Mexico. They've been here a while. They have dashboards. Tableau. There's many of them out there. They do the same. All of them do the same. They provide nice charts, sometimes quick analysis, but very easy for people to see performance, sales, profitability, whatever type of data. We talked about cash flow. Cash flow is not that easy to understand if you're not a finance person, but it needs to be easy for finance and also executives. And this example actually we built in our tool just like 2 months ago, because we said, how can we make cash flow easy, easier than a big report with lots of numbers? And this was just an idea. This is the last row in your cash flow statement, the bottom where you see, increase, decrease in cash. But here you can see 13 months back in time, and you see the exact increase, decrease in cash flow. and even what percent changed from the prior month. And then you can go back here and see, okay, net income was less than my threshold, so it's red. What was good and bad? This was fine. Gross profit was good. Total expenses, not good, right? So then you can follow gross profit back. The revenue of part of my gross profit is good. Everything fine. But it looks like problem was cost of sales. Much more visual to see. Plus, you see trends, right? 13 months in this case. It could be 30 months, 20 months. So that's just an example of making cash flow easier to understand for people that need to analyze cash flow. Being creative. This example is another dashboard, but the other dashboard was high level. This is low level. An example of looking at what is the quality of my suppliers, especially if you're a distributor, manufacturer, that's very, very important. And it's just showing that graphically. This is an example of looking into the future. If you can see right there, dotted line, see, is looking, today we say we are in September in this example, it is looking 3 months forward, the dotted line. In most companies, you see that's prediction there, in most companies, that means somebody has to make a forecast or a budget, which might take a year or 3 months for you to have a new budget or forecast. In this example, the 3 months into the future is automatic, is formulas in the report writer. It looks at the last 3 years and say what happened in September to December, and it says probably based on that, this is what will happen. So it's an example of automatic forecast. We talked about benchmark between you and competition, right? Looking at the outside data. This is an example of a software company. So my company, not really my company, but it could be my company. Microsoft, let's say that was competition. They're public, very easy to find numbers on internet every quarter. Oracle, another example, public, I can find the numbers. And now I take the data, put it into data warehouse, and I can compare it to my own. I can even calculate the average. And instantly you see, am I going the same pace as competition? This was meant to show all the types of modules in business intelligence. So we lost some text for some reason, but I know what they are. So one area is financial reporting and consolidation, right? Many of you are from finance, and if you, how many have many companies? Multiple compañías, many, yeah, okay, some of you. So consolidation is very important. So this is one area of business intelligence. Data warehouse, we say, very important, right? If you have many data sources, which you have, to get it in one place, data warehouse is very important for business intelligence. This was meant to say budgeting, very, very important. This was meant to say dashboard analysis, very important. This was meant to say data discovery, like ad hoc reporting. What that means is on the fly, very easy reporting that all your end users can do. It's a huge area of BI, so that you're not stuck with one person that know how to write report, right? Very important. This was meant to say, that's the smallest part of business intelligence. This was meant to say data mining. Data mining, most companies do not do. It's a specialty area, often for like marketing. If you're in a big company and you want to look at, let's say, how many potato chips bags your customers are buying when they buy a bottle of Coca-Cola. That's like data mining. So that's part of BI, but it's a smaller area. Okay? So it was just an example of different areas. Now I'm going to transition to Alex so you can see example of real life business intelligence. But we never talked about Solver. And as you know, we are now started in Mexico, and with Nicholas and Edre, you're going to hear more today about the launch in Mexico. We've been here for 9 months now in what we call pre-launch, preparing and getting our first customers and so on. So I thought I would just say a couple of words about Solver. We started Solver 19 years ago in Los Angeles, California, with all the BI, all the complex BI. Just like a Hyperion Cognos, we had some tools that we sold to SAP and Microsoft. 6 years ago, we said we need to make BI easier, and you saw that big circle of different areas of BI. We need to cover all of the important areas, and we make our product called BI 360 that Alex will show you. It's 6 years old, so it's a modern tool for that. In these last 6 years, we have more than 1,300 customers. We have our first customers in Mexico. I think we have 5 now that we've got the last 9 months as we built up. It's our startup. We have put out Solver offices in 10 countries, actually 11 since we made this slide, so we're also in Norway now. We are very excited about Mexico being our first launch into Latin America. Actually, since the 9 months when we started in Mexico City, we also got started in San Jose in Costa Rica. That's like 3 months ago. So we are working our way down into Latin America. And we also got our product on what you call Gartner Group Magic Quadrant. Only 17 business intelligence software in the whole world is on that. And we got on there last year. So that's a little bit about us. And if you want to know how we are moving about, you can see the last year, apart from Mexico City, we got into South Africa, and we got into Italy, and very recently, Costa Rica.